Hello, this is Sean Petticini from Tower of Babel again. I wanted to show you guys some new features that I've been working on in my program. For those of you who are new, Tower of Babel is a language learning program that I have been creating to help foreigners learn Chinese. Eventually I will extend it so that it can be used to learn any language. The next step will probably be, it'll be made for Chinese people wanting to study English. Right now it only goes one way. It's only for English wanting to study Chinese. So what I have is I've added a lot of new features. You can see that it's release 2.01. And so I've made a lot of changes to the program. I've added a lot of new words. Now, again, for those of you who are new, these are Chinese words. They have the definitions. They have, well, some of them do. These don't. But if I go down where I've started becoming more detailed, most of the time, I try to write in words alongside them. So these are synonyms, antonyms, related words. You can see that if I click on a word, it gives you all the details about the word, the definition, the Chinese definition, an example sentence. It's got a lot of details. Sometimes, like I said, they have synonyms, antonyms, and related words. I have a lot of unusual words in here. Most of them have the traditional and the simplified. I'm still adding. I've been adding words into this thing. Every time I learn a new Chinese word, I add it into the system. So that's basically how it works. It's pretty simple. And I use this because there was no other good software out there for me to help me learn Chinese. And so I decided to create my own with the features that I wanted. So, of course, I can type whenever I want to look up something. So if I want to look up something that contains, I don't know, of course I can type Chinese and then find that word. Or, this doesn't have that word in there. Let's try this one. There we go. It's very fast. You can see that if, like, for example, if I type a single Chinese word, something that's fairly common, like Jing, and I hit that, now you can see, here are all the different words that contain that. That's weird. Oh, oops. There we go. Okay, so here you can see all the words that contain this word, Jing. So that's pretty useful. Anyway, but I added a new feature where now I can say the type of word. So I can do this, and I can say construction. This should have worked. Let me try that again. There we go. So if I type construction, these are all grammar types of patterns in Chinese. Well, this one. Yu qi bu ru. Or bu ru. Yeah. Anyway, so rather than A, it would be better to B. So these are all different types of grammar patterns, various grammar patterns that I've learned. Usually they contain example sentences. Sometimes they don't, but most of the time they do. You can see one down here. So anyways, that's not really what I wanted to demonstrate. What I wanted to demonstrate was some of another feature that I've been working on. One that I decided that I was, what happens if you have an English person who's learning Chinese? Now, I can already read Chinese pretty well, so I can read Chinese magazines or Chinese books. But what happens if you have a foreigner whose Chinese is not so good? And maybe they haven't learned that many words yet, right? What happens if you have them, but they would like to maintain their vocabulary? They've learned a lot of words, but they still can't read full Chinese. It's just too difficult. What if there were a way for them to have an intermediary step, a step in between, where they could still study, but only some of the words would be translated? What if they could read an English text, but then the words that they knew in Chinese, it would replace them? It's not a translation, it's just doing replacing. So it'll replace some of the words with the Chinese words. Of course, the grammar is not correct, but that's not the point. The point is you'll be able to maintain your vocabulary. So, what you can do is, what I developed is a system that integrates with Tower of Babel, and I call it my lingual substitution. What lingual substitution is it's a hybrid system, and it takes a text that you type, and it will replace some of the words with Chinese. So I can show you that. You can see down here we have something called a swap analyst. Right here. So if I type something in like, I'm going to bed, enter. You can see there's the original sentence, and down below is the Chinese substitution. Now it was able to translate part of it. Over here is the tagger and everything else. Now this system took a long time for me to design and to create. It handles all forms of verbs. For example, that's I'm going to bed. He will go to bed. Again, the program is very smart. It's able to resolve verbs down to their base forms. Everything from present, simple past, past participles, present participles. Most of the time it's able to handle gerunds and infinitives. It also handles contractions. It's able to handle plurality of nouns. So, for example, I don't know, like, let's say, well, okay, why don't we try this? So let's say I type in, I have 20 Chinese tunic suits. Okay. You can see that the system is very smart. You can see there, right there is Chinese tunic suit. Zhongshan Zhuang, and even though it was, I put an S on there, Chinese tunic suits, it was able to realize that this was a plural noun and reduce it down to the correct Chinese. So it handles plurality of nouns, it handles irregular verbs, it handles comparatives and superlatives, both adjective and adverb form. For the most part, it's able to handle passive sentences. So there's a lot of work that goes into this program to analyze the sentence. So a lot of the work that I did on this project was designing something that could intelligently extract text and extrapolate the contextual meaning from a sentence and then be able to translate it into the appropriate Chinese. It also has patterns. It's very smart. For example, if you say, turn off the lights, oh, that actually wasn't supposed to happen. That's a little unusual. Okay, well in this one it said it directly, but I also have here, I have a swap table, which is a set of rules. So we'll hit OK, come back here, turn the lights off. So for example, you can say something like that, but if you said turn the lights off, normally it wouldn't be able to translate something like this, but the system is very smart. It'll take this. That's not what I expected. This one. Okay, sorry about that. I forgot to reload the swap manager. So if I say turn the lights off, you can see it uses the ba construction. Ba, the lights, and turn them off. Guan diao. Now, what if I said something like turn the stupid lights off? You can see it's very smart. It's still able to handle that. It's able to handle separable verbal phrases, several different kinds. It's able to handle many different types and patterns. It'll try to recognize it and translate it into more natural Chinese. So that's a brief demo. And it can handle a lot of stuff, even things that are fairly complicated. Of course, it doesn't always work. Well, she was pregnant with a very fat elephant. I don't know why you would say this. That was kind of a silly thing to say, but as you can see, it's able to handle passives. Right here is a passive sentence. She was pregnant with a very fat elephant, and it's able to handle that. You can also set an aggression slider, so you can say how much you want translated and how much you don't. You can see it doesn't translate words like with, very, the, simple things like particles and articles, words that don't really have any real importance, and plus they don't really have any immediate direct translation in Chinese. It's because that's not the point. This isn't a translator. You have Google Translate if you want to translate something. This isn't for translation work. This is so you can be writing something and see parts of it changed. So you could read some text if you wanted to. You could copy a Word file. Maybe you wanted to read something, and you could copy it in here, and then you could read it partially in Chinese. So then I worked on this, and then, so we'll close this. Then what I did is I extended it into something called chat. Now what it'll do is if I'm chatting with somebody, let's say I spend a lot of time chatting with my friends, but I chat with them in English because they're from America. Well, what would happen if I could make it so that while I'm talking to them, when they talk, because they don't speak Chinese and they don't read Chinese, but what if I made it so it would translate part of what they say in Chinese so that I could naturally study some Chinese while I'm talking with them? You know, now the system is, this is the first version of the substitution lingual substitution system, so there are some bugs, but I'll go ahead and show you exactly what I mean. So here, we'll hit Skype chat. You can see over here it's loading them up. Adding all my contacts. Right now it works with Skype, but it'll soon work with Windows Messenger. Okay, so over here is the Skype chat. So what it is, I implemented this. You can see right here, don't worry about language proxy. That's something else that I've been working on. So let's see who's online right now. So very few people. Josh Petitini is on. So that is my younger brother. So why don't we show you exactly how it works. Now I don't say anything right now. Now you can see these buttons at the bottom. Those really aren't important. But what happens if I say, hey Josh, how's it going? Try to type normally. Okay, so now we're chatting. We're just chatting normally. So I said, hey Josh, how's it going? And then he's going to respond back to me. So he's a very formal response. Now, right now you can see that it's just normal text, right? Now watch this. If I go to swamp and then hide original, now watch what happens. I'm doing well. How are classes going? Okay. So normally it's still going to be pretty normal, right? I'm talking to him, saying, how are your classes going, etc., etc. Let's see what happens now when he responds to me. This is my little brother, so he doesn't know though. This system you can't see it. Look at that. So he said, they are 辛苦不过 they are 还有 very good for me. Okay, so sometimes the translation is kind of silly, but now you can see this. Now, what if you wanted to look at the original? Watch this. I can double click, and you can see here's the original sentence. Now, I wouldn't have even have known. I can just talk to Josh normally, and I won't have any problems. So he's taking Latin, so I'll ask him about Latin. So, now you can see that I've got a little status bar right here that says he's online. There's another one of my friends, but he's busy right now, so you can see that's why he's got a red arrow. Okay, so he misspelled one of those words, which is explaining why I did that. So let's say I want to mention something else to him. If a So I don't really know what I'm talking about. This is pretty normal between me and Josh. Did they spell briny right? I don't know.